Here's a tweet from EW critic Darren Franich. Better Call Saul returns with its best season yet. Bob Odenkirk as Jimmy McGill as Saul Goodman is a great performance within a performance. The little man willing himself into mythic farce. I'm sitting down with Emmy-winning writer, producer, director, actor, and star of Better Call Saul, Bob Odenkirk. Welcome. Thanks for joining me.
Who's clapping?
All the fans. Well, listen, the 5th season of the show premieres this Sunday, and we actually have a clip from the premiere, so let's take a look.
Let's watch.
Jimmy McGill, the lawyer, is always going to be Chuck McGill's loser brother. I'm done with that. That name is burned. This is a fresh start. This is how I move forward, and I like it.
Sorry. I just can't see it.
It's okay. You will.
So where do things pick up with Jimmy McGill now going by Saul Goodman?
Where does it pick up?
Yeah, where does the season start off?
You act like I watch my own show. I do know. I have seen the first episode. It kind of picks up right where the last season left off, like literally a minute later. And Jimmy has followed this woman down the hall to go to the records office and change his name to Saul Goodman. And Kim kind of has, I guess, followed him because last we saw he was walking away from her and she's waiting outside the room. And he comes out to sort of check with her and say, I'm doing this, and sort of try to explain the reason why he thinks it's a good idea. And it is a good idea. It really is a good idea. Because while he was having his probational year as a lawyer, or however long it was, but I think it was at least a year, he was trying to earn money and he was selling these cell phones, and he got to know all these scales or fringy people living in Albuquerque by the name Saul Goodman. And he figured, why don't I keep that name as a lawyer? Because they already know me that way. And then this guy they already know is a lawyer, and they're going to need a lawyer. Mm-hmm. So it's a good plan. Mm-hmm. And I think in his mind, the way he explains it, look, I'll still be Jimmy McGill to you. This is who I'll be at work. Mm-hmm. And that's how he sees the whole plan working, is kind of this compartmentalized life, which, people could argue that's not a good plan. You can't do that. But I think a lot of people do that.
Well, this season, I've heard, includes more Breaking Bad characters. So what do we have to look forward to?
Well, people already know this who love Breaking Bad if you've watched any of the press, but Dean Norris and Stephen Michael Quezada come back to the world. They are big parts of Breaking Bad. In fact, they both are, but Dean was one of the original core cast of that show. So if you remember in Breaking Bad, Dean's character, Hank, knew Saul. He had a past with Saul. They gave each other shit outside the interrogation room on the first episode you met Saul. So this, helps to establish that world that you then saw in Breaking Bad.
Well, season 6 is going to be the final season. And so we know...
The next one we shoot.
The next one you shoot.
This is 5.
This is 5, and the next one is 6.
5 starts Monday?
Sunday.
Well, 5 starts Sunday, and then we're going to shoot one more season later this year, and it'll play in a year and a half or so.
Well, everybody obviously knows what ends up happening to Jimmy in Breaking Bad, but
do they? They don't know what happens to Saul at the end.
Right. Well, that was going to be my question. Do you already know what happens to Saul at the end?
I don't. I know that he's still alive after Breaking Bad. He's in hiding as Gene Takovic. He works at a Cinnabon in Omaha, and he can't take it anymore. He's suffocating from being in hiding. And so he's got to do something. And we'll see what happens. They're going to tell that story, I'm sure.
You think in season 6? Or
in season 6.
And so we'll learn about
Some of it is told in season 5. So you'll see. But I think in season 6 they were going to go tell, I don't know how far. You know, I have the argument to Vince and Peter, who run the show, that it'd be interesting if the show was kind of a 180 degrees opposite Breaking Bad, sort of existentially, which is, you know, Walter White was kind of degrading into the worst version of himself in the course of Breaking Bad. And I said, isn't it possible that people sometimes learn the right lessons and become a better version of themselves with the experiences of life? And I agree that it's not common or often that happens, but I think it can happen. It can be a story that happens in the world. And I wonder if they'd let Jimmy reconstitute himself with sort of a healthier. This is the Californian in me talking. Wouldn't it be interesting if you could do that? But I don't know if they see the world the way I do.
My question was going to be, how receptive do they seem to those ideas? Not too much. No, would you ever do...
They listen to me and nod, and then they write what
Then they go do their thing.
Yeah.
Now, how receptive would you be to doing a film like El Camino, but for Saul?
Listen, the truth is, this is an incredible role that I was given. I did nothing to deserve it. All you young actors out there, go ahead and hate me. You should. I did absolutely nothing to deserve this part. It's an unbelievable part. You know, even I crack the scripts and I go, here's a page where I'm doing comedy for 2.5 pages. And then 7 pages later, heartfelt, earnest drama. 7 pages later, a romance, you know, that's got integrity to it and depth. I mean, it's just unjustifiable. And I'm thankful to have it, and I would do it as much as they want. You know, I mean, people who go, as an actor, I want to try different things. I'm like, well, look at my scripts. You know, everything's in, there's violence in there, there's romance, and it's all written with incredible integrity and depth. It's crazy.
Well, throughout your career, you've done a lot of different things, and I want to talk a little bit about Little Women. Greta Gerwig's amazing adaptation from this winter.
Wonderful.
How familiar were you with the story before joining the cast? I mean, people have such a devotion to this book.
I never read the book, and I read a lot. And if someone had somehow handed it to me at some point, I'm sure I would have read it. It's great. The writing is great, and the characters are awesome. I'm not sure it would have meant as much to me as it meant to Greta as a young lady when she read it. But it's a great book, and amazing to think it was written in the 1880s. And there's a great book about Louisa May Alcott and her father, Bronson Alcott, who I played. Not that that's what I think the movie's about. So I've been meaning to go on one of these talk shows and go, well, if you've never seen Little Women, it's the story of a father who goes off to the Civil War. And when he returns, he has to deal with his daughters. And it's...
that can be your new pitch for it.
Yeah. But there is a great book called Eden's Outcasts. And I see you have a lot of books here. Have you read all these?
I have to concede, I have not read all of them.
I am intrigued by them.
I mean, feel free to take a look. Grab one if you're interested.
I don't recognize a lot of them. They're just decoration.
I mean, I do think that they are mostly decorative.
Carl Knausgaard, I haven't read Autumn, but I've read most of his stuff. But anyway, Eden's Outcasts is a great book. If you like Little Women, you should get that book because it tells the true stories of Louisa and her father. But it's equal. It's not, I know I played the dad, and I'm sure, I don't think the movie is about the dad.
Well, one of your co-stars is Laura Dern, and of course she won an Oscar a few weeks ago for Marriage Story. What is she like as a scene partner?
She's the best. I mean, she's, it's all about, I was thinking a lot about this because Ray Seahorn is the best scene partner ever. We do a lot of really intense stuff, light and nimble writing, and fun, and also intimate scenes in Better Call Saul. And I was wondering, why is she so great to work with? And Why are we good together? And I think there's just a trust, and I feel the same way about Laura Dern. I think, I mean, I don't know if I feel it with any actor, but really experienced actors, once you say action, I think they all understand the place that they're all in, and they have a shared, you can feel safe in that world of imagination and play with them. And I feel that way about Laura for sure. And I felt that way about her dad, Bruce, in Nebraska. I mean, you just feel like they're going to watch everything you do and react to it, and you can, and they respect the fact that your character's in their own world, and then there's a shared world that they're watching, and you just are in this fantasy world together. And it's comes down to trust.
Now, a lot of people felt like Greta Gerwig was overlooked in the various categories in the Oscars.
Yeah.
How did you feel about that? I mean, do you think that it is just a reflection that this is a women-centric story as well?
I think it probably hurt that it was a classic story, even though she found an incredibly fresh take on it and a meaningful fresh take, and also the way she shot it and the time jumps in it were very modern. It was, I think it was probably not given enough credit because it's just a classic. So it's hard to break through maybe and feel like that they should reward it as being one of the best. But I just think it's a shame. I think that kind of, prejudice on a piece of work is stupid. I mean, it's a great piece of art and it will last, and it shouldn't be held against it that it's a classic. Greta should have been included in all those categories, and I know I'm part of that cast, but I can't even believe the cast. SAG didn't even nominate the cast. I mean, that was an incredible cast, and they worked together so well. And I say they because, look, I'm not in it that much. And I watched the other actors working together, especially those four girls. I mean, Parasite won, which was an incredible ensemble as well. But I think it should have been nominated, Yeah.
Well, throughout your career, you seem to have a knack for being able to spot comedic talent. And I'm talking about Tim and Eric, also the creators of Pen 15. And you helped these people.
I didn't find those people. In fact, that show I never saw until it was ready.
Didn't your production company is behind that?
Yeah, but don't give me any credit.
Okay, fine. I won't give you any credit.
It's not my production company. It's my wife's.
Oh, okay, got it. Yeah. Your wife's
I didn't
production
see
company.
it. I didn't even know she produced it. And she goes, watch this show. And I loved it, and then I see her name, and I'm like, "What's going on?" And she goes, her company produced it. Mark Provocero, who's her business partner and is my manager, along with her, was really sort of the point person on it. With Brooke Pobjoy also produced it.
It's an amazing show.
Isn't it the best?
Yeah.
Watch Pen 15.
Yeah.
We're watching it for a third time now. And it's the best. I've watched episode 9 4 times.
Wow.
It's called Anna Ishii Peters. It's the best.
I'll have to go back. I've been watching it, but I will have to go back.
Just watch 9 again. You watch the whole thing. But if you're only going to watch one, I don't know if it'll impact you because you don't know the story. But if you've watched the series, and they are working on a second season, watch episode 9 of Pen 15 again.
All right, I'm going to go back and watch it. Unfortunately, we have to leave things there. Bob, thank you so much for joining me.
All right, you got it. Thanks for having me.
Season 5 of Better Call Saul premieres this Sunday on AMC. Up next, you'll see my conversation with Katie Holmes.